Okay, now that we have understood the structure of an EDM song, we can go ahead and start composing it. So the first thing that we will need is a kick pattern. We're going to have many kick patterns in a song because we're going to need one for the introduction, one for the chorus, one for the build-up, and one for the drop. Sometimes one for the bridge is also necessary. So when you open FL Studio, you'll find that four basic patterns have already been loaded into the channel sequencer. We're not going to be using these presets as they are very dull, so let's go ahead and delete them. There are two ways to integrate drums into FL Studio. One way being a virtual synthesizer that we can add and create our own sounds. Another being the use of presets. So, the easiest method is to use presets, which are sounds that have already been composed by audio engineers. Such presets can be downloaded online for free or purchased. FL Studio includes a few in the software. So let's go ahead and open the packs, the drum section, and see what we need. We are going to need a kick. It's preferable to have something for the chorus that almost sounds like a basketball bouncing. So let's try this one. We're going to take the preset, drag it into our channel sequencer, and then see what else we need. We're going to need an open hi-hat. As you can see, on the right it is written CH or OH. This differentiates whether it is a closed hi-hat or an open hi-hat. The difference being an open hi-hat resonates longer than a closed hi-hat. In EDM we use an open one. So let's try this one. So we have to go with what we find fits best into our song, whatever feels nice to our ears. We are also going to need a snare. Go ahead and test it to see which one sounds best. And finally, a clap. We can also use many other percussions, but let's keep it basic and go for this one. Now, for the chorus, we're going to have the basic disco dancing beat playing. Basically, on every first step, every 4 steps, we're going to place a note on for the kick. Every third step for the open hi-hat. And the snare and the clap always follow each other in the song, and they are what give the groove. So we're going to place them on the second and fourth beat, compared to classical music that places them on the first and third. The snare and clap emphasize the second and fourth beat and give the groove. So let's go ahead and hear our chorus pattern. Once we have our pattern, we can go ahead and place it wherever we wish to in the playlist. Now this is going to be our pattern for the chorus. So let's go ahead and name it. This way it'll be easy to find amongst the many patterns that will be created. Now, for pattern 2, let's say this is the one we're going to use in the introduction. For the introduction, we like something soft that almost helps the transition between the introduction and the chorus. Personally, I find it interesting to create a build-up with just the snare, as the snare is light and fills higher frequencies which are easier to the ears. So, as you can see, I am dragging the step sequencer to increase the amount of measures. By default, it is set to 1 measure. So let's go ahead and create 3 measures, each measure being 4 beats. So, To create a build-up, all we do is start by increasingly adding the amount of beats at which the snare will play. For example, it will start off by being every 8th beat, then every 4th, every 2nd, and finally every 1st. It'll play on every beat. So let's see how this sounds. Next, we will need the drums required to make our build-up. This is pretty similar to the one in the introduction, but this time we will be incorporating all of these 4 elements. So as for the kick, and as build-up implies, we're going to start by increasing the tension to close the discrepancies between the main part of the song and the drop, because the drop has much more energy, and we want to keep it balanced. So let's ease the transition by creating a build-up. We're going to write 4 measures at once. So, for the first 4 measure, the kick will go on every 1st beat, just like the one in the chorus. So we're basically going to be copying the chorus drum line for the first 4. After that, the kick will go on every 3rd and 1st beat. It'll keep doing the same for the next measure, and then finally it'll go all in. As for the hi-hat, it'll keep the basic chorus pattern, and on the second measure, it'll add the 1st and 3rd. So it'll follow what the drums are doing. And then finally it'll go all in. As for the snares, unlike the chorus pattern, it'll hit the 1st instead of every 8th. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it'll hit every 1st out of every 4th beat. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll hit faster. And then after the first measure, it'll follow the same steps as the cymbals. And then finally it'll go all in. As for the claps will do exactly what the snares do, since both sounds are meant to complement each other. The snares handling the middle frequencies and the claps the higher ones. And that is what a basic build-up drumline sounds like. As for the drop, as you can see I reduced it back to 1 measure. For the drop, we are going to have 1 basic drumline, which will add an 808 kick, which is basically more of a bass that handles the lower frequencies. We add this on top of the regular kick. Basically, the drumline will be the exact same as the chorus. It is also possible to differentiate the open hat by placing it on the 2nd and 4th instead. No, the 1st and 3rd. And the snares and claps will go on the 2nd and 4th beat. And the 808 kick follows the drum, the regular kick. And that will be all for the drop. We can emphasize the 808 by increasing its volume slightly by turning up this knob. So those are the 4 drum patterns that we will be using in our song. And please proceed with the next section.